Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Break free from the forces holding you back. Get the life you deserve. Eliminate stress, reduce anxiety, decrease depression, and start living your full potential. Thousands have used Dr. Foojan Zeine's awareness integration theory, an evidence-based behavioral health breakthrough with incredible life-changing results. Getting rid of past trauma, having fulfilling relationships, increasing earnings, and living their best life. Now, the Foojan app is available to everyone. The app is Dr. Foojan Zeine's awareness integration theory in the palm of your hand. Download the Foojan app today.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inner Voice podcast, a heartfelt chat with me, Dr. Foojan Zeine. I'm a psychotherapist, an author, and the originator of the awareness integration theory. So great to be with you today. If you see me sounding just all calm, it's because I just finished our conversation with my guest. And so I hope that after you hearing this wonderful podcast and seeing it maybe on YouTube channel, you also have this just amazing experience inside. So in this episode, I chat with Ashana, who is one of the premier healing music artists and new age vocalist of our time, weaving together soaring angelic vocals and the celestial sound of alchemy crystal singing bowls. Ashana's best-selling music from All Is Forgiven, Jewels of Silence, Beloved, The Infinite Heart, River of Light, Celestial Sleep, which I can go to right now just with her music, and The Illuminated Path have been downloaded and streamed by millions of fans around the world. A lifelong student of yoga and mantra from many of the world's spiritual traditions, Ashana has led 2 online group meditations touching the lives of more than 20,000 people in 50 countries. As a renowned master crystal ball artist, teacher, and a sound healer, Ashana is an expert in the field of sound healing with crystal balls, training students from all over the world in the art of applying crystalline sound to therapeutic and artistic healing modalities in her Crystal Ball Mastery Program. Today, we're going to also talk about her book, The Crystal Singing Balls. She's done a fantastic job on explaining all of it in this wonderful book. And you'll hear it, you'll actually hear a lot of information about the healing concept of music and the singing bowls, but also you get to experience about 4 or 5 minutes of just the magic at the end. So don't go anywhere. Now, subscribe to this podcast, my YouTube channel, and connect with me through my website, foojanzeine.com, or any of the social media. Share with me your thoughts. I love to hear from you. Now, without further ado, here's Ashana. Well, I have Ashana with me today. She is the author of Crystal Singing Bowls. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Foojan. It's wonderful to be with you today. I'm so excited.
Your book says the angelic sound of healing, relaxation, and a spiritual awakening. It is truly an angelic sound. I know my own experience of many times where I've been a recipient of different types of singing bowls, whether they were crystal or they were the Tibetan metal bowls. And it's my experience has been that it's vibrating every cell of my body, and it just takes me to a whole different place. I mean, on a short term, obviously, I have a lot of experience of it lasting for a long time, but I really want us to have a more in-depth conversation about all that it does, and what you also offer in your book in so much of a beautiful way of distinguishing, the distinct difference between the singing roles and the music and different types of it and what it does. So I'm really, really excited about learning from you and for our audience to really gain what this can be for them. But before that, what got you into singing bowls?
it was it was really one of those on hindsight, it was one of those destiny moments that came totally out of left field. I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, after many, many years in the music scene in New York City, and the classical music scene in New York City. And one day, a dear friend of mine called me up and said, "Have you ever heard of crystal singing bowls?" And I said, "No." She said, "These are right up your alley." And so I bought one sight unseen. I didn't even think about it. I didn't hesitate. I just did it like that. It arrived in my house. I took it out of the box. It was 3 weeks later. Took it out of the box, put it on my kitchen table, and it was like it was huge. It was one of the classic frosted bowls. It was 14 inches, not the kind of bowls that you see around me right now. These are the Alchemy crystal singing bowls, and these are really a completely different generation than the bowls that I was playing when I first started. So these were fairly big, heavy white crystal singing bowls, put it on my kitchen table. I took out the mallet, which looks something like this one, and I tapped the side of the bowl, and I immediately burst into tears. And the very first thought that I had was that light had come to live in my house.
Mm.
And I was in awe. And the second thought that I had, and literally these went boom, boom, right? Like it was just within a nanosecond of each other. The second thought that I had was, one day I'm going to put these into music. Now, what you don't know or may not know about me is that I'm a classically trained singer, grew up, came through the whole conservatory, music conservatory scene in New York City, studied and made a specialty of early music, and did many, many years in musical theater and performance arts, all that kind of thing. So putting the bowls into music was an instantaneous knowingness for me. What I didn't realize at the time was the transformation that was going to happen to me personally. So once I had that one bowl and I was completely enamored with it, literally 3 weeks later, I had 7. It was like this. It just went like that. Now you look around, there's 105 bowls in this room because I can't contain myself. They're each one of them comes in and is so beautiful and offers its own specific, really divine, unique, divine frequency.
The first time I think I was introduced, I wasn't feeling very well, and someone told me to go to a person who was doing healing with crystal singing bowls, and I think she had 3 of the chakras that it resonated with 3 different type of chakras, and I just laid down and she started with it, and the whole session, I think it took about probably around 90 minutes of just my body vibrating in a tremendous amount of, like you said, like a light vibration that it was happening.
Yeah.
So when you said 7, did that mean, is that because of the chakras, or were just the different types of, vibration that resonated with you, and there were different sounds that were resonating with you?
Well, traditionally, and this came out of the crystal bowl world itself, because it's significant to understand that there is no historical relationship between, at least in the Ayurvedic, through and traditional Indian, Eastern Indian philosophies. That is where our understanding of the chakras really has come from, out of that tradition, and out of those spiritual studies and teachings. And there is no correlation based on that tradition that associates specific notes of the Western musical scale with the chakras. I have a whole chapter on this in my book. But at a certain point in time, in the development of the crystal singing bowl world, someone correlated notes to chakras. And if you do different kinds of research, you can see that what some people have done is translate the Hertz frequencies of light into notes. But you can also see that depending on who's doing the translation, the notes are different and the colors are different. So, I think that there really is, first and foremost, I kind of want to be one of those people to sort of put to bed the idea that, my note equals this chakra, or, the note B equals the crown, and the note A equals the pineal gland, and the note G is the throat chakra, etc., etc., etc. There are many things to take into consideration before we can look at that. And the fact that one of the beautiful things that we have with crystal singing bowls, especially with the alchemy bowls, is that you hear notes within notes within notes inside the bowl. We call these notes within notes within notes the harmonics of the bowl. And the harmonics of the bowl have all different kinds of notes. So truly, in an essence, when you are playing one bowl for a person, you have a spectrum of harmonics that literally covers almost every single note in the musical scale. So, and especially when you bring three of them together, say like this. You can hear that? If you are sitting with me or you were lying down, you would be hearing like all these notes. Not just this fundamental bum sound going on simultaneously. And then each bowl has its own set of those harmonics. And all of those notes are vibrating in your field. All of them. And what happens is, because the body is 60 to 70% water and fluids, and sound is nature's greatest water fluid is nature's greatest conductor of sound. And of course, as we know from the teachings of Dr. Masaru Emoto, that intentions and emotions can literally imprint on the molecules of water. So when you go for a healing session, as you did, with somebody who is devoted and dedicated, committed to holding a field for your healing, for your well-being, and he or she is playing their bowls from that place, then literally the sound itself will enter into your vibrational field, but it also will enter your field through all the fluids of your body and literally start delivering that intention, delivering that vibrational frequency to every single part of you. Literally, down to the cellular level, down to the DNA. This kind of sound can change our DNA. It's really remarkable. And when you have that and you entrain to that vibration for, as you did, for 90 minutes of that sound with the intention, with the deeper places of relaxation that you found yourself going, something amazing begins to happen. And that is our thinking mind, that part of our mind in science, we call that the self-referencing network of our mind. That mind that's always like self-absorbed. Oh, I should have done this. I could have done that. And aren't you terrible because you did this? And we have all those voices. I mean, you're a psychologist. Like all of those voices that go in our head that are just saying this is wrong, that's wrong. And sometimes we call that the ego voice. Well, that voice just gets quieter and quieter and quieter.
That's what I was just gonna say. After that beautiful sound, my brain is so quiet. I'm just like, let's not talk. Let's just experience. But it's like, well, we're on a podcast. We need to talk and share. But it's so funny because the minute I hear that sound, like almost my body has a specific reaction to it.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly. And it's so easy. This is the magic, the wonder, the splendor, the divine gift. I mean, it's like a gift from our higher selves, from the divine, this kind of sound, to just say, here, that place that just runs like a train, the monkey mind, that is reflected for us constantly in the world that we live in. It's that incessant chatter of, I would have to say, negativity, and some level of constant struggle, and suffering. Right?
In your book, Crystal Singing Bowls, you share about the benefits. It reduces stress and chronic fight or flight reaction, relieves insomnia and sleep disorders by increasing the quality and amount of sleep, strengthens the immune and endocrine system, supporting the body's ability to heal itself, eases anxiety and worry from emotional and mental overwhelm, tonifies and calms the nervous system for those struggling with depression and mental illness, PTSD, ADD, definitely ADD, and learning disabilities.
Oh my God.
Yeah, helps increase circulation and provides support for heart and blood pressure condition, accelerates healing and vitality during pre and post-surgical experiences, increases mental clarity and ability to focus, aids in the development of intuition and heightened creativity and inspiration, and expands access to deep states of inner peace, meditation, and relaxation, so we can amplify our connection to our soul and accelerate our spiritual awakening. So it seems like it has a specific type of a resonance that happens with your body. And is this something that you would suggest for people to actually own one, or is it more of receiving, this kind of, let's say, treatment, or, to be where they could receive this? Or are you also suggesting that each person, it's awesome if they actually learned it and did it for themselves and, own one in their home to be able to also self-create that type of a resonance?
Both, right? Both.
The easy answer. The easy answer is both, but
the super easy answer is both. And of course, I could talk a lot about this, from personal experience, just from personal experience. You absolutely, if it's possible for you in your life, and it's not always possible for everybody in their lives to have, one, let alone, a whole family of them. And sometimes it's just easier and more possible for people to just go to a sound bath. We call sound baths, these are these group sound experiences. They actually have a name. They're called sound baths. And it really is like you're just lying back and you're just being bathed with sound. Now, the beautiful thing about a sound bath is you're lying back, you don't have to do anything, and you can be surrounded by a small symphony of, it could be bowls, it could be didgeridoos, it could be, what I have back here, is a therapy harp. I use them all the time in the work that I do. Um, it could be other instruments, flutes, rattles, drums, or crystal, lots of crystal singing bowls. And it's a very passive experience. But there is an immense amount to be gained when you, let's say, have your own bowl or bowls. And this allows somebody to have a completely different experience. Because you love the bowls so much and you've had them, you've had the experience of being a receiver, right? Now I just want you to imagine if you had this bowl and it was in your hand, okay? And you tap the side of the bowl like that. And you began to play, and you can feel the vibrations moving from your palm up into your arm. It's resonating into your chest. As I'm speaking, I'm telling you what's happening in my body right now. Okay? Now you're listening so you can hear this, right? So I'm playing. The sound is going from my right hand that's holding the mallet, and it's vibrating up my arm into my chest. And my left hand, which is holding the bowl, the vibrations are going in and up through the bones of my body. Now it's vibrating. The more I play, the more my entire skeletal system, from the bottoms of my feet up into my head, is beginning to vibrate. And the sound of the bowl, because I'm holding it right in front of my chest, I can feel this vibration from my throat, in my face, all the way down my abdomen to the base of my spine. My entire body is vibrating. And just in those few moments of playing, I'm starting to release. Like, if I wasn't here talking, I would be just... So I'll give you an example of two things. So here's a personal example. Last night we got home, my husband and I got home because we had a long day of traveling. We'd driven 12 hours up for a friend's wedding up in Colorado, and then we came back last night. We drove all day yesterday from Colorado to Sedona, Arizona, which is where we live. And I got out of the car, we unpacked, we had dinner, and I set out actually almost all of these bowls in front of me because I was thinking about today with everybody here. And I sat them out and I began to play. And all of the tension and the stress, all the driving, all the being in the car for so many hours, all of that, the weekend, and it just began to release and wash away and release. The more I played, the more my body just felt everything kind of going, it goes. And so if you are limited to a sound bath, then what happens the rest of the time when you're not going to a sound bath? You know, Dr. Mitchell Gaynor, who was the chief oncologist at New York Hospital, and he did an incredible amount of work. He wrote a beautiful book called The Healing Power of Sound. He was a great lover of Tibetan and crystal singing bowls. And every patient that was open to this, that came to him for their first treatment in cancer care treatment, he sat them down, and before he even spoke about anything with him, he put a crystal singing bowl in their hands and invited them to play. And after they figured out how to make the mechanics of it, And they began to play and began to play. And they went through that, just what I did right now, those 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes of just emptying out, quieting that chittering mind. Then he spoke with them about their treatment protocol. And their treatment protocol for every one of his patients that was receptive to it included them owning and playing a crystal ball on a regular or daily basis. So I'm a huge advocate for people having their own bowls, if they can, if that's possible. And if it's not possible, then there are amazing recordings out that I've done, got some new ones coming out starting August 1st that are very powerful program that I created called Celestial Alignment for Healing. That is, I designed it for this purpose, for people, anybody, to be able to understand sound healing on their own. I did not design Celestial Alignment Healing for sound healing practitioners. I wanted to give it to people, your average person that maybe couldn't have a crystal bowl in their life, but they could have this. And they could play the music, and they could learn, they could watch, they could maybe get their own crystal bowl down the line when they're ready, but they didn't have to wait to have these vibrations going through them.
Everyone, Ashana, crystal singing bowls, the angelic sound of healing, relaxation, and spiritual awakening. When we talk about healing, Ashana, can you share a little bit about why music and sound creates healing? Because obviously, you know, there's definitely music therapy that happens, but the field of music therapy is very different than sound healing. So can you share a little bit about your experience of all of these years? Not only that you were a musician yourself and a singer, but you've taken this now not only, you know, not from a societal entertainment and even emotional, let's say, producing effects that overall music has, now to the deeper layer of sound healing. And you have all the whole range of experience of that. How is that different for someone like you who has experienced it, or for me as a receiver, as an audience of both?
Well, we have to remember that all music heals.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter what kind of music it is. It could be hip hop, could be techno, could be electro, could be reggae, could be classical, could be, it really doesn't matter, because the language of music is universal. And music itself can touch someone's heart in an instant to affect a healing. So much of our healing as humans comes from, and you know this, I'm sure you and I could talk about this for a really long time, but that place where our emotions are not necessarily aligned with our higher wisdom and our knowingness. This is our humanity that is working itself out. So we may have emotions that we are holding on to. In fact, most of us do, if not all of us, emotions of anger, of resentment, of guilt, of frustration, judgment, the list goes on and on, jealousy, etc., etc. And those emotions get stuck in our bodies, what we call our cellular memory. And they literally, they can crystallize, they can harden, and they can ultimately create conditions that affect us as disease. So, just think about something like high blood pressure. And when you look at high blood pressure, it can be a feeling of being constantly under pressure, or it can be a feeling of unresolved emotions that have never been expressed. So we build up like a pressure cooker. And of course, that can drive our blood pressure up. And that's just like a tiny, tiny example of the impact of emotion and how it can eventually result in a physical consequence of illness or disease. But when music comes in, you know, the right song at the right moment, and I'm sure every listener here has had that happen, where you just hear that song and that sound goes whoom, like an arrow straight into your heart, and before you know it, you're just like, whoa, and you're crying and you're releasing, and then it's like, and you may have to listen to that song 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 times, and every single time is like a purging. That is music that heals, right? And any song can do that for a person. But healing music is different, because in healing music, the music itself is actually created with the intention behind it to heal. Okay? And there is a deeper understanding in healing music that if we put these intervals together, it can affect this experience for people. If we use this sound, it will create an experience that affects this. If we choose this mantra or phrase or repetitive phrase, it will do this. If we work with these harmonies, it will affect it this way. We hope, we have this prayer that it will do that. So there is the intention, the absolute intention that this song, this piece, this experience is going to create a container for someone to feel safe and secure, that they can have the releases that they need.
Beautiful.
So is that helpful? Does that
Absolutely, absolutely. And our time, I'm enjoying this so much that our time is just passing without me noticing. So I love for us, if it's possible, with an intention that you choose for our audience to give us an example of the beautiful singing bowls that are in front of you. And also, if there's anything that we haven't touched upon and you really want people to know about your book, The Crystal Singing Bowls, The Angelic Sound of Healing, Relaxation, and Spiritual Awakening. It's #1 on Amazon, and everyone who's out there, by Ashana, and you can definitely get it in Amazon. Your book goes through that. The reason I asked whether you were also suggesting that people should have one, because you go through really detailed way of explaining the differences between the different types of singing bowls, and I guess explaining it would allow people to kind of choose to see which one resonates for them, and what they can start with, and how they can have that. And you even talk about the practitioner one, or even the Tibetan metal one. So it gives a lot of amazing explanation about the bowls themselves and how they can resonate. Is there anything that we haven't touched upon that you really want people to know?
Yes, what I would love for everyone to know is that I have so much music out that's available, and all of my music has as its foundational basis the alchemy crystal singing bowls. I kind of describe my music as, look at the hand, here's the music, and then the bowls are underneath, doing their little mama jamma magic work. So the music itself is profoundly healing, and people all over the world listen to it, and so many people write to me on a regular basis after, some of my music has been out for 15, 20, almost 20 years, and they're still having experiences, just even listening, streaming, the kind of experiences that I spoke about where, it goes right into the heart, and you just listen to it over and over and over again. So, you know, even if you have your own bowl, when you have the experience of the alchemy bowls playing by someone like myself, and you can listen to that on a regular ongoing basis, you have it in your home, you have it in your car, you have it in your workplace, you literally are training and entraining your body to higher vibrational frequencies of healing, wholeness, and well-being constantly. And this is a blessing, and this is exactly why I created this music. So Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Apple Music. You can go to my website, which is soundofashana.com. You can go to this online store. Not only can you find the crystal bowls there for the ones that, if those of you who are ready to bring them into your life, you can find the book is there. You can find all of my music there, and the possibility of even studying with me for those of you who are ready for that. So just welcome to my world, and if I can be of service, I am totally here for you.
Beautiful. So can we hear an intentional piece of your beautiful music with what's in front of you?
Absolutely. So with these particular bowls, I just invite you, if you haven't already, just grab your set of headphones, because the sound is going to be much, much, much better for you listening that way. And just find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. And just give yourself permission to let go of whatever it is that you've been worried about or thinking about or concerned about. Just let it go. Just begin to feel your breath. And feel that big empty space behind your eyes. And feel these sounds as you breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in these words so gently into your heart. I am peace. I am peace. I am peace.
Mm, thank you. Thank you so much, Ashana. Thank you for being with us, taking the time to not only bring your beautiful self, beautiful knowledge, experience, and beautiful crystal singing bowls and music.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Foojan. It was my joy to be with you.
And for all of you who are out there, create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And until next week, bye-bye.
Eliminate stress, reduce anxiety, and decrease depression. Dr. Foojan Zaine's awareness integration theory has helped thousands like you get incredible life-changing results. The Foojan app gives you her evidence-based treatment in the palm of your hand. Download today.